Ask yourself, do I have a positive mental attitude? What does this possibly mean? It means, can I overcome the adversity of life? Because life is, for the most part, pain and suffering, with moments of joy until I began to plan my life, isn't it? When we finally wake up at around 22 or so, we realize that we are free. And I can predict ultimately, and I can plan ultimately, what kind of life I want to lead. A positive mental attitude means that in the end, I will be fine. Somehow, I will be fine. But this is nonsense if I don't train myself to understand what that actually means. Now, there are some great people to read about. There's a man called Earl Nightingale. Really, he's the father, I think you could say, of the so-called self-help movement. And his disciple, Jim Rohn, his disciple, Tony Robbins. Now, these people are seemingly happy people, and the things they say make a tremendous amount of sense. All of them talk about a daily routine, making your bed, expressing gratitude for being the person that you actually are, saying your prayers, writing in your notebook, and then getting on with your day. And when you face adversity, which you will, you can somehow plan to overcome it. You can intellectualize, if you will, and then think about how this is going to be different in the future. Now, we are unfortunately subjected to a lot more negative activity than we are positive activity. I was sitting in a doctor's office the other day, and there was an enormous television screen. And on the television screen was the international news. Death, mayhem, pain, suffering, loss, destruction, not one instance of joy. Not one. And I'm sitting in a doctor's office. Now, why do we go to a doctor's office? We go to a doctor's office, obviously, to be healed, to get well. But how can this be conducive to getting well when I'm subjected to this kind of nonsense? Made no sense to me at all. So, turn off the news. Turn it off. And be conversant with what is going on in international affairs. You have to be informed, but don't allow yourself to wallow in the pain that exists, seemingly, all around us. Now, ask yourself this question. Have I ever been shot? Have I ever been stabbed? Have I ever been blown up? And for the most part, no. I've lived a good life. I haven't been subjected to pain and suffering. So then, the pain and suffering that I'm watching is obviously associated with a tiny group of people, not associated with me. I'm a happy man. I'm a positive man. I'm going to live in the world where I can have a positive mental attitude. Now, there is something called toxic positivity, however. Toxic positivity is when you're extremely naive and you have a terrible circumstance that has happened to you, terrible situation, and you say, I'm fine. But you're not fine at all because it has happened to you. Perhaps you've had an accident. Perhaps you've had a death in the family. Perhaps you've lost all your money on the stock market. God knows what it is. But you cannot say, this is fine, because it's not fine. It's really, 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 really bad. A positive mental attitude suggests that somehow I'm going to figure out After the pain and suffering has been put in its proper place, somehow I'm going to figure out how I can plan my way out of this. And this is obviously the story of successful people. It's not unique at all. They've been able to overcome the tragedies of being human beings. And we all can do the same. 10% of the population are foolish. 5% are brilliant. This therefore leaves you and me, the vast majority of human beings. And we go up and we go down in this arc based on our actions. Because life is about action. Once again, I've said this before, Osho says there are no heroes and there are no cowards. There is only action. So you get out and you act and you build the life that you want to build, and refer to these people that I've mentioned, these individuals who actually help us train our minds. I think it's not all foolish, and some of it is charlatanism, I'm sure. It's not as positive as some of these speakers want you to believe. But you know yourself. You know that there's no one like me. There never has been, and there never will be. But I must wake up to me. If I leave the door closed, I will never be the person I should be. 3 questions, right? Why am I here? What is my mission, my God-given mission in life? And where will I go when I leave here? Whatever my religion, I must come to peace with this. I must. And you know what they say. You know what they say. Critical thinking to help us find a solution to all of this is necessary. And of course, critical thinking is great. You take care. God bless. Bye-bye.